Yo, what's going on? Sam here. Welcome back to another video. This is our first look at the 2020 iPad Pro with a triple camera setup, something I never thought I would need to see on an iPad, something I honestly never wanted to see on an iPad. But nonetheless, we've got some fresh images of this iPad Pro, and I say fresh because I actually went hands-on with a dummy unit of this iPad all the way back in September of 2019 when we were actually calling it the 2019 iPad Pro, and then Apple came out and said, no, we're not going to be updating it on its normal schedule. The update for the iPad Pro is coming a little bit later. So I want to run through these images, show you everything that's changing generation over generation, and also tell you the latest leaks and rumors for a device that could be coming out as early as March of 2020. Drop a like if you're excited, hit subscribe if you guys don't mind. It would also really help me out. You could stay updated on Apple News, which is always a plus. Let's go ahead and shall we get started? First up, I gotta give credit to OnLeaks and iGeeksblog for publishing these images. OnLeaks has leaked like I think every single Apple product that has come out over the course of like the past 5 or 6 years now. He has a really good track record. For reference, these were images of like the iPhone 11 before the iPhone 11 was out, and it looks pretty much identical to that device. So there might be some minute details that are different when the device actually launches, but this is our best look ahead of launch. Basically an official look prior to Apple unveiling it. First up, on the back of this device, obviously there's 3 cameras now. And I made that joke at the beginning. I wasn't actually joking. I guess I just don't see any form or function to 3 cameras on an iPad. I want to hear your thoughts about this down below. Maybe you're an avid iPad Pro user. Maybe the one camera on the back wasn't enough, so you felt like you needed more. You can do that. You're allowed to feel that way. And I just don't think that most people need these cameras. I mean, Apple's calling it the iPad Pro. Like, I guess if you're a professional, you would need the camera. But still, to me, it boggles my mind that this is going to have as many cameras as the phone in your pocket. Probably all the same resolution, same megapixel. It'll likely do 4K 60 video. And I'm not saying that there won't be some benefit here. If you shoot videos or photos on your iPad, it's going to get a heck of a lot better generation over generation. It's just that I feel like Apple's running on empty here for ideas for the new iPad Pro. I mean, they just redesigned it in 2018. I love the new design. That was the best iPad that I've ever used. I really, to this day, I've actually got it right here. I mean it when I say this is the first Apple product that has wowed me in like the past 3 or 4 years. It's, I don't know, the all-screen design is fantastic. It's 120 hertz. It's extremely smooth. Like, everything about this iPad is pretty much perfect. So when you look at the back, it's like, well, you know, we're sitting around the design table. What could we change? Oh, the camera is the only thing left. The triple camera set, it looks cool. What is nice though is it's not just going to be copy and pasted from the iPhone. There's said to be a new time of flight camera system. And based on my quick Wikipedia search, there's actually more benefits than we initially thought. Sources say it will be used for enhanced augmented reality, being able to scan depth and tell things in the environment better than the current camera system just with one lens. It also seemed like at first this was being talked about as if Apple was the first to ever use a time of flight camera in anything, but it turns out on the 2nd generation Kinect, like for the Xbox, Microsoft actually used it there for range imaging. On the Galaxy S10 Plus, there's a time of flight sensor as well. It's there to help determine like where the foreground and the background start, so it can give you a nice depth of field. So Apple's likely gonna be doing that in addition to the heavily rumored augmented reality imaging enhancements. But there's actually some practical application here, so I'm gonna give Apple the pass here. If they do include the time of flight camera, and if they do, there could be some benefit outside of just 3 camera lenses with 3 different focal lengths. Now, also in these renderings, it's hard to tell what material they're going to be made out of. Initially, the article referenced that they could be made out of glass, and OnLeaks says that is a possibility. But if we know one thing about iPads, it's that they've been made out of aluminum since the very first iPad ever, all the way back. Wow, at the start of the decade, the iPad is 10 years old. I don't think that in 2020, that's the year that Apple's going to switch, because we just got a big redesign, and a glass back would not only increase the cost by, I think, a significant factor, it's also just not realistic considering we just saw a big update. This iPad looks nice when it's rendered out to have a glass back. I'm totally for it. It would make this device feel so much more premium than just a slab of metal. A slab of glass to me has always felt better, but don't get your hopes up. I don't think that that's really going to be happening, so I guess we'll just have to be happy with our aluminum. Johnny Ive wins yet again. For camera upgrades though, Apple's not stopping on just the back and just with the time of flight sensor. On the front, there are going to be some tweaks to Face ID as well. We could see a higher megapixel count there to match the iPhone iPhone 11 and 11 Pro series, but more importantly, the Face ID sensor is going to get a bit wider angle, just like it did on the new iPhones. Now, initially when we heard this, we thought it would be where the device could lay flat on a table and like from here, sort of like shoot up at your face and scan without you having to do that little Face ID, little ostrich lean. We're still out of luck there, and we're still going to be out of luck on the new iPad, but it will be slightly wider angle. As you can see here, you can actually go a little bit wider. Did you know that was an iPhone 11 Pro exclusive feature or iPhone 11 exclusive feature? I bet you didn't, but now you know. So could you watch I update? With the iPad though, because like it is held a bit farther away, maybe this could be a case where Apple has done like an 11 Plus FaceTime where you could have it laying flat on a table, and that's where that rumor came from initially. It's just right now it's sort of unclear, but we know some minor Face ID improvements are coming, although probably not in the speed department. Apple will likely reserve that, if at all, for the iPhone 12 later in 2020. Internally, the article suggests that we can expect an A13X chip, which is, pretty logical based on what Apple's done. They generally announce the main chip, like the A11, for example, inside of the new iPhones, and then they'll put an A11X or an A12X inside of the iPad Pro. And the A12X is what's inside of the iPad Pro right now. It's pretty much perfect timing, right ahead of the A14, for Apple to put the A13X in the iPad Pro, and it will likely feature some, again, minor changes, but nothing groundbreaking because it's just an X with some additional performance on top of a chip that's, I think, already fastest in the industry. There's one other rumor that's a bit of a toss-up because we're not actually sure if it will end up happening in 2020 or save for a bit later in 2021, and it would certainly be the biggest upgrade of the three, and personally it's something that I think Apple needs to do if they want to actually make this an enticing upgrade for people. Since the iPad first came out, LCD technology has been the standard, and Apple has stuck with that, albeit, made it Retina, made it ProMotion, 120 Hz, super smooth. They've done some significant upgrades, but the underlying, literally, technology itself hasn't changed really at all. So Apple, as early as 2020, according to Digitimes, could actually be planning to change that. Instead of using LCD in the next iPad Pro, Apple could be using micro LED, which is a little bit thinner, a little bit lighter, and can apparently, I've never seen it with my own eye, but from what I've read, it can get close to OLED, being that black levels greatly improved over standard LCD. You can also get higher contrast that you just can't even touch with an LCD panel, which I'm excited to see. We've wanted OLED. I mean, that's the next logical progression for true black colors, just like we've had on the iPhone 10. I mean, the OLED Apple displays look incredible. It made sense for that to eventually come to the iPad, but as OLED is still incredibly expensive to manufacture, Apple could switch to micro LED for extremely similar properties, but also sort of in a way that would make more sense for the iPad line. So it's possible this happens with the next iPad Pro. I really think it has to if Apple wants people to really consider this tablet over just looking at used versions of the previous one, because these upgrades by themselves, independent of each other, are not enough to upgrade. And even combined, I think it's a stretch there. That would be the upgrade that would make me do the purchase. The triple camera setup could be, auxiliary, even the faster processor. I have not ever noticed my iPad slowing down. It's seriously to the point where I question, do we need a processor upgrade everywhere? Obviously, it's something I want. You want something to get faster every year, but is it necessary? I mean, that's a whole other conversation. New screen technology, though, I think is one of the largest drivers for people to upgrade. So micro LED, it's still a toss-up, but when can we expect this iPad to possibly be released? Well, March 2020 is the big date we're hearing. It would make sense if Apple said there's a tweaked release cycle. It would just be a few months late. Apple could also wait until September, October, or November of 2020. I think a safe bet, though, is March 2020, and as we get closer, we'll probably determine if we start hearing a little bit more about it, seeing more leaks. It's probably going to come then. If we don't hear anything, it's just dead silent. Probably looking a little bit later in 2020. So that's all I have for you in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like down below, hit subscribe for more, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.